Hello, I want to share with you a game that I played yesterday against an FM online. And there's a seems to be a trend, or it's popular these days for players to play the bishop's opening with white, uh, which is fun. It can lead to a tie-in game after e4, e5, and bishop c4. This can transpose either to uh, an Italian game or a Vienna game, which I guess it kind of did in my game. Let me turn all this off so that I can see more clearly. So, knight c3 or knight f3. And there's a way I started to play against this when I see bishop before the knight. Uh, this, I think, allows black a little bit of flexibility because since knight f3 has not been played, this pawn is not under attack yet. So black's not obligated to solve that problem yet. Black doesn't need to play knight c6 yet, or d6 or whatever he would normally play to defend the pawn on e5. So black has a little bit more flexibility, and for this reason, I began to play something different that I just discovered a couple weeks ago, and it's just c6, and this is called the Philidor counterattack. Um, this it kind of resembles a few other things, but where uh, with the white pieces, if the knight was already on f3 and white plays c3 is the Panziani, which is kind of leads to a tactical, usually open game for white. Um, but here I feel okay because even if knight f3 comes, I have d5 first, so this gives problems for white to solve immediately. So I think maybe this is a good possibility if you're looking for something to take the white player out of his preparation with when they're doing this bishop's opening with bishop c4 immediately. So this is how the game went, and this was a classical game. Time controlled 20 minutes with 10-second increments, so he had plenty of time to think these moves over, and he did use his time. You can see this is the time chart here, and we both, especially in the middle games, typical, we used quite a bit of time thinking about our moves. But c6 and then knight c3, um, probably knight f3 was better. I don't know, but knight c3, kind of natural. I guess wanting to grab extra control over the d5 square. So now he's got three pieces controlling d5, but it's not really a problem. I can just play knight f6, and d3 is a passive move, and I've noticed, in addition to the bishop's opening, I've noticed a whole lot of players with white playing d3 these days in the Italian game and the Spanish game and all kinds of games, and I don't know why. To me, it's just such a passive move. I much rather play d4 and almost in many circumstances. I don't get this d3 obsession. They want to play. I get they want to play a solid structure, but white's not. Whites should be attacking, not thinking about long-term defensive possibilities, thinking about offensive possibilities. So this to me is just much too passive of a move, d3. So I just went for it, just stabbed right into the middle with d5 and saying, okay, now you have to figure out what to do. So of course, ex d5 and bishop b5 check. And I think maybe this is slightly more accurate to block with the bishop, but I guess it doesn't really matter from here. Um, I just blocked with the knight, just saying if you want to take, you can, and I'll have a bishop pair. We'll go into the middle game, and we'll see how that works out for you. If I have these two bishops on a open board, because it's going to be open, and we'll see how that works out for you. So go ahead, if you want to. So knight f3, I think that was a good move. Just putting an attacker on this while the knight on c6 is pinned. So I just decided to gain a tempo again with d4. Why not? He's let me have this pawn center. I'll just take advantage of it as fast as possible. So he took on c6 first, which I expected, and bx c6, knight e4. I thought about this for a while. I wasn't sure if I should take or not. Maybe this is okay, but then I have this problem of this knight taking on e5. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and trade these knights off. And now I can defend this pawn, bishop d6. He castles, we both castle. And now I feel pretty good because I have these two bishops and I have the center. I don't see, his attack is quickly fizzling out. I don't see anything for him right now. He's just, that d3 move I think was what kind of canned him in, and now it's just black has freedom to do whatever. So bishop g5, but this is just I think kind of a nonsense move. I just play f6 because I'm not afraid of opening this diagonal because he doesn't have a light square bishop, and I do. So if the queen were to ever try to come here to threaten, this light square bishop can easily control that. So bishop h4, and now he has a very bad bishop in my opinion. This bishop is just, controlling these two squares, and it's just blocked in by his own pawn and can't do anything. So I just start to expand here on the queen side, a5. c3 attacking the pawn chain, but just play c5 and to preserve it. Take here. I didn't play a perfect game, so I definitely made some mistakes this game, and you'll see some of them, but I felt pretty comfortable the entire game right out of the opening. Queen b3 check. I'm not sure what his intention with that was. I mean, it doesn't really create any problems for me. It just, move the king over, and now what? What is the queen hitting now? Nothing. All right, so he wanted to play queen d5, and he got that in, but it's another problem that's easily solved. Just rook b8, and now I have my own threats on this pawn. I'm playing bishop b7, kicking the queen away. I think even though the material is equal here, White was kind of struggling the entire game just for equality. Bishop b7, kick it away. And then this queen, I think, is a little off sides. I don't know what kind of future he's intending for it to have on e6. But I thought, well, I'll just trade queens off and have this bishop pair dominating most of the board. Rook c1, bishop b4, rook fd1. I played h5 to force something. Maybe that wasn't necessary though, but also just to give my king a place to go, just in case if I want to get these rooks active and aggressive, this king will have somewhere to go to avoid any back rank trouble. But f3, probably f4 here was better. Again, maybe just a little bit too passive of a move, because f4, then I have black has to make, some kind of decision. Don't really want to take there and isolate this pawn and become kind of weak. I can probably hold it and defend it, but I don't know. But f3, and so let's go ahead and trade some material here if you want to. But I didn't want to right away, and this is where I made, I think, my first real mistake. The correct move here was just a4, and to just kick this knight back or make him play here maybe, I don't know. But instead I thought, well, I'll try to threaten something here. This rook, I can trap one of these rooks and win an exchange here. But he played a good move, a3. He punished my own mistake. And so now a5 or a4 is, I think, the only good move for me. If I move this bishop, then obviously he's going to get this pawn. So if I move it back here, he's just going to take there. So I didn't want to mess around with that. So a4, and he gets rid of one of my bishops. But this bishop here is just kind of doing nothing for most of the game. And then rook c5. I guess he wanted to threaten something here, or he wanted me to take here maybe, just so he can have this pawn and get his other rook behind it and try to roll it forward. But this pawn was hanging on b4, and my rook's not hanging because I have this bishop on a6. So he took back, and rook b8 probably not necessary. Rook c7. Yeah, and so now I just start to invade his own side of the board. And so 2 threats here. Rook takes c2, and bishop here, because this pawn is pinned currently. The king is running out of places to go. So he created his own threat. But I wasn't too afraid of this because my king has space to move to, and he has a dark square bishop, but not a light square. So I wasn't too afraid. So I went ahead and took on b2, just create this threat. He took on g7, and took another one. But now this is hit. And suppose, well, I don't know if he should take here or not, but he did. And just said, okay, well, just roll the pawn forward, see what he's going to do about it. And I guess that's the only thing. So rook d2, just defending both pawns, and also attacking this one all at once. So I think that was the only reasonable move, because, let's see, actually there might have been some kind of threat. Oh yeah, this is a threat maybe. But anyways, that's the Philidor counterattack, and it just went into this endgame where I felt very comfortable going into it, and I think maybe it's a playable game and useful for maybe taking the white player out of his preparation. Let's look at some of the evaluation here. See, already right now it says black has a little advantage, almost a whole pawn worth of advantage. Yeah. Yeah, and at this point, if you count everything, it's totally, the material is equal, but it's showing black with the significant advantage, -3. Yeah, as it turns out, this was not necessary. It's actually not a good move that I made. I made some mistakes and kind of let him back into the game for a little bit, but it didn't last long. Yeah, and now here, it's, black is, I would say, has a winning advantage. -6 is hard to come back from. Yeah, that was a mistake, I guess. But he also made one. Computer is saying that this is the better move. Yeah, and here I looked at this. He can't even play this. He might like to play that, but that leads to mate because if rook h2, then rook d1 is mate because that was the king's only escape square. So yeah, he can't even, he might have been wanting to do that, but I think he realized that he couldn't after a bishop takes because that would end the game immediately. But yeah, the game just ended up in this type of endgame, bishop and rook versus a rook, and yeah, I didn't play it perfectly, but I ended up getting him anyways. It's hard to come out this type of game. Yeah, and from here he just quit basically because that's the only move to stop mate. All right, well, try it out, and if it works out for you, let me know what you think, or if it doesn't work out. I think there's some other lines in it. Maybe I didn't actually play it correctly. Um, what I don't know the book on it. It's still new to me. The computer is saying that just b5 here is the move. Yeah, and I guess this is kind of a forcing thing. Knight f3 is the move here to finally attack e5 or to move this pawn. But I guess the idea is, black just rapidly gets space on the queen side, and I prefer to play d5, though I don't like throwing these pawns up too quickly without getting at least some kind of piece activity first. So I think this is okay. Fight for the center. Anyways, that's how I like to play. Good luck.